Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale with one of my personal favorite videos ever shared on my entire YouTube channel in almost 1,000 videos. I invited Marcel P on. He actually came in second overall last season in the entire world. I invited him on to chit-chat about the game a little bit, to touch base with him, talk about pushing last season, but more importantly, we're going to play a whole bunch of live matches, and we're going to watch Marcel as he plays and try to get inside the man's brain and figure out what makes him so good and why he makes the moves that he makes. Let's start out by opening up a legendary chest, though. You can see I am stacked right now. I got back-to-back legendary, super magical chests, and then magical chests. I already opened up the magical. I'm going to gem up this legendary right now, and then maybe midway or at the end of the episode, I'll open up the super magical. So I got a princess, not bad. Princess is my only level 4 legendary, so going to get her on her way to level 5. We'll start up the super magical and welcome in Marcel P. Alright guys, so here I am joined back with Marcel P again. Marcel, welcome back to the channel, man.
Hey, really excited to be here again.
Yeah, this should be really fun. Congratulations, first of all, on finishing second overall globally in the entire world last season. I'm going to pull it up right now. Marcel P with 58, 44 cups. Can you tell us a little bit about how exhilarating that was and maybe how often you played yesterday, Sunday now, to get to where you ended up getting?
Yeah, thanks a lot, man. It was really cool experience. It was my first season playing on my account as a level 13 and really playing at the end of the season to see how far I could push. I was definitely super happy and proud to finish second. Congrats to Pompeo with his first place finish. It really reminded me, given this is my first experience playing sort of at the end of the season, really trying to push, it really reminded me of the old Bren Chong tournaments, actually, the 15K. I call them Bren Chong tournaments, but I mean the old sort of tournament mode where, the really big size where everyone, most of the elite players would play, and every matchup towards the end was sort of a marquee matchup.
Yeah,
that's what
someone you've heard of, yeah.
Yeah, that's really what it felt like. I played a ton in the last 4 or 5 hours of the season. I want to say towards the last hour, it's a lot of just like the old tournaments where you're watching, just trying to see, all right, how far ahead or behind am I? Who's playing? Who's not? But it was a really fun experience for sure.
Well, that's really cool, man. So what I wanted to do is just have you on today and just try something new, always trying to add a new touch, and actually ran this idea by you before we started recording, and we both thought it could be a really fun idea. And basically, it's simple. We're just going to watch you play, and I'm just going to ask you questions. I just connected to you through Facebook, and we're just going to see how it goes. We'll start out with maybe a ladder match or two and then hop into a challenge run. And I just kind of want to get, more so than just watching you, I want to get a feel of almost inside your head, what you're thinking and how you're reading your opponent, especially predictive plays. That's the name of our clan, Pro Prediction. So does that sound good to you?
Yeah, definitely. When you brought it up, I thought it was a great idea. Hopefully we'll face some Zap bait decks. That's where the prediction spells will really come out. Otherwise, I'll just try and talk as much as I can. Hopefully not too quickly. It'll be tough to sort of manage kind of speak while covering everything, but we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. If it sucks, then no one else will hear this but us. But one last question for you. I'm just curious, a random question about trophy pushing and about how you handle a season. I'm not sure if you're gonna plan on trying to go for #1 again this season. I imagine you are, and if you do, do you play the same deck all season long, or do you kind of switch between, or how do you do you find a deck you're comfortable with in the first week and then ride with that, or how do you generally go about that?
So with me, I like to, I'll first, early in the season when it doesn't matter too much, sort of test things out. So to answer your question, I definitely don't stick with the same deck the entire season. And what ends up happening is, as we all know, a meta sort of forms, whether there's a new update or even without updates. People start trying different things, and it leads to different metas evolving. Last season, there was a ton of Lava Hound Balloon. There was a lot of X-Bow, surprisingly, at the end of the season at the top of the ladder. And so I was playing a lot of Hog. Actually, the deck that I'll be bringing for the games we'll be spectating for this video. I was playing a lot of this Hog deck, but then I found that it wasn't the best deck against Lava Hound, not the best deck against X-Bow, certainly. And there is also quite a bit of Bowler Graveyard Freeze at the top, which is also a terrible deck to play. Hog, so I just had to scrap it. I was all right, no Hog. I ended up going to the graveyard deck, and it went well. So yeah, there's definitely a lot involved in sort of what deck you end up using for the end of the season push.
Yes, I noticed that too. It seems like even like you kind of nailed it there, is that even when the metas or balance changes aren't coming into the game, the meta still changes and evolves every season. It's kind of cool. So I imagine you kind of just find the deck that you feel most comfortable with in that given meta, and then you just roll with that on the last few days. So congrats again, man. Let's get into some matches here. You want to start off with some ladder match?
Oh, sure. Yeah, that sounds good. Hopefully the wait time won't be too long. I know you're...
Yeah, go ahead. If it is, man, I'll put on a replay.
You're on the friends list right now.
I am.
All right.
I'm ready for you, man.
All right, I'm searching.
You're pretty high in cups right now at 45, 46, so you should probably be matched up with a level 13 maxed account, I'd assume, at being that high.
Yeah, it'd be good if we were able to show a match where it's not sort of there's no card level discrepancy or nothing too crazy.
Yeah, it's always a crapshoot, but hey, we'll see see how it goes. So while we're waiting for a match, why don't you tell us a little bit about the deck that you'll be playing today?
Right, so it's a Hog Rider deck, one of the really quick cycle ones, 2.6 average elixir cost. The couple of variations I have on it, it's not an original sort of deck. Oh, I'm into the game, but okay. I use Lock, Zap, and Tombstone instead of Cannon. So okay. Most viewers will recognize the deck and just see those slight variations.
Okay, you're going against No Name Kid from Mo Beta. That's Final Boss's clan. Shout out to Final Boss YouTube.
Yep, sorry. So I'm waiting here. I have a decent starting hand. I'll go ahead and start. Okay. I have Hog, Ice Golem, and Ice Spirit as my other cards.
Okay, question for you. Do you ever rush with a Hog in the beginning or never?
I try not to. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but We'll see. So far, this is a good... all right, he puts the Giant in front, and now my Musketeer isn't going to get much value, but I'm hoping he doesn't have a log. Does. He mistimed it. That's pretty important. He mistimes the log. So I should be fine here.
Yeah.
All right, I get the Ice Golem just in time. I'm going to make another... So I don't know if he has Elite Barbs, which is why I'm not going to rush with Hog yet. I'm just going to do another slow play here.
Okay, great. So you're kind of feeling out what he has in his.
Yeah, I'm probably guessing that he probably doesn't know yet what my deck is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to hit full elixir, so my best player is probably to Fireball.
Okay.
I'm sort of just waiting here, waiting.
You can see the patience that it's really impressive, right? And there they are.
So now I know if I'm able to defend this well, a Hog is going to be perfect because he doesn't have Elite Barbs in Cycle anymore. He has Archers, which is not great. He has Giant, which is useless, right?
Yeah,
so I'm
going to get him right here, I think.
So we'll see if we can get some good damage.
Now, do you have Fireball back in rotation?
All right, I'm not going to Fireball because I'm not at full elixir yet. There's no need to rush into a decision here.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think I would have Fireballed there, which just goes to show the difference on how I play too aggressive.
So I'm sort of just chilling right now. I'm guessing maybe he's running Elixir Pump. I've seen this deck. So he zaps. He sort of had no plays. All Musketeer. I'm sort of just making neutral plays again. Mm-hmm. He still has Elite Barbs in Cycle, so I'm waiting. I don't want to Hog or I'll run out of Elixir, defending both the Giant and... Alright, interesting.
Lightning. Interesting there.
Should be fine because Tombstone's pretty good against Lightning. He does have Log, but we'll see what happens here. Mm-hmm. So I'm just sort of building up all my troops here. He logs. I'm not really sure what to play. I'll do another Tombstone. Not the best play. He goes for a Giant. Okay.
Now, would you ever switch to the opposite lane in any of these circumstances, or are you just going to continue to focus on catching him without the Elite Barbs in it?
I usually do that if he's playing a deck where they're like huge sort of commitment troops. That was a bad play by me grouping up the Musketeers, but because his deck doesn't really have any huge commitment sort of troops, it's tough to switch without knowing I won't get punished. I'm going to go into the Elite Barbs. I'm not able to push the Ice Golem, which I'm really not happy about. It'll be a good value Fireball, though.
That was a good value Fireball, for sure.
So now I just need to defend this. I think Log won't kill those Elite Barbs, but it'll help stop him a bit. I'm sort of just throwing all these things.
Yeah. And you got the Elite Barbs down, so that's the most important part. It looks like the Giant's going to get...
the Giant locked the tower. That's huge. Oh, this could be... Because he has Lightning, so I'm not happy with that. I hope I hit the one Archer, please. This is going to be tough. All right, he has a I'm gonna log here. Hopefully get the elite barbs. All right, I think we're good.
Fireball.
Well, yeah, we'll run away with it.
That's it, man. Nice.
All right.
Wow, good game, man. Good game.
That was tough. Wow. Having to talk over the gameplay, but
you did very well with it. It's weird because I have like a million questions, but I don't want to, I can imagine how distracting it is already. But maybe you want to share that replay and then kind of go run it over maybe in double speed and kind of just talk us through it again?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a good... I'll go ahead and share the replay right in chat.
Yeah, that way we can review it real quick. Nothing too in-depth. I won't make the viewers sit through my painful 10-minute synopsis of the match. So I'm going to go ahead and press pause at I'm at 250 right now.
Okay.
When you're
we can go ahead and this deck real quick maybe to start off. That's usually the first thing that I like to focus on in looking at a replay.
Okay.
So he had a pretty interesting deck. I had seen his deck with 7 cards in it quite often. The Giant Musketeer, Giant Mega Minion, Elite Barb, Zap Log, but he had Lightning in there. Usually with this deck, I see it with Elixir Collector instead of the Lightning. So that gave me a bit of trouble with the Musketeers, and he had the Log for my Tombstone. So right off the bat, the deck, and he had Elite Barbs for the Hog. So it wasn't the easiest matchup, but I think just being patient with the opening plays really got me ahead early, and that's sort of what made the difference. Mm-hmm. But we can go ahead and do sort of play-by-play analysis.
Okay, I'm going to press play. I'm at 252 right now. I'm going to press play in 3, 2, 1. We'll just go in normal speed, just have a conversation over it too. But one thing I was impressed with, like you kind of pointed out there, is just how restrained you were in the beginning. Like you said, not using the fireball when you didn't have to, leaving yourself enough elixir to defend. Like, those are all really important things, and that's really what made the difference at the end of the match,
Yeah, I think it's just really important to know, even with quote-unquote aggressive deck like a Hog deck, at least for me, I like to make sure every play really, really matters. Like, I'm not sort of throwing Hog just because. There always should be a good reason why I'm throwing the Hog, whether it's because his defense out of cycle or he just played a slow play at the back and I want to pressure.
Even if you had had a oh god, no, I totally lost my train of thought. Go on. Sorry.
Yeah, so right here I still haven't seen much. I'm guessing Elite Barbs, right? And that's why I'm reluctant to throw the Hog out. That's why I'm playing just real passive.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, is you even had from very early on like a really keen sense that he had the Elite Barbs, and that's why you didn't play the Hog into it. So like just goes to show that your knowledge of the game and how much it helps, the knowledge of the meta, I should say.
Yeah, definitely. Knowledge of the meta makes a huge difference, especially in the opening plays, where you can sort of guess, all right, this is probably what's in the deck. And that definitely makes a huge difference. So again, right here, I saw him just commit Elite Barbs to defend my Musketeer. And so from there, it's sort of, all right, I know I can get some damage in. The Ice Spirit might have been a little ambitious.
Okay, well, here's a question about the Ice Spirit versus the Ice Golem. Once you know your opponent has Elite Barbs, obviously the Ice Golem, one of the best defensive tools, between kiting and just slowing them down. Are you going to always just combo the Hog with either the Skeletons or the Ice Spirit versus the Ice Golem, or is there ever a time where you will use whatever you feel like?
I'm not that worried about using the Ice Golem because I can almost always cycle back to it on defense. It's such a quick deck. And the only way I'll really get huge damage with the Hog against Elite Barbs is with the Ice Golem in front. You'll see that at the very end of the game where I'm able to pull it off, get a bunch of damage. But it is because of the Ice Golem tanking that I was able to get all that damage.
And those little small plays too, I think they're noteworthy, like playing the Skeletons like you did. Obviously it's helping cycle A, but it's also, it took those Skeletons, those 3 little Skeletons took about, a quarter to a third HP off that Giant. So it was helpful,
Definitely, and I think a huge part of this deck here, a huge sort of idea with this deck is protecting the main source of defense here, which is my Musketeer. So if you can sort of count how many shots each Musketeer gets and sort of equate that to the value it ends up being worth. And every time I throw Skeletons, I have Log, I have Tombstone, I have Ice Spirit, I have Ice Golem, all just to muck things up and let the Musketeer get one more shot off.
Yeah.
Really what helps this deck be a defensive deck where otherwise you look at it and it's like just a bunch of flimsy cards.
Yeah, I think that was probably the play of the game right there, that predictive Fireball, getting the Elite Barbs, the Tower, and the Mega Minion. That was really, really helpful. Otherwise, this would have definitely been Tower down for you if you hadn't have got all that damage off them.
Oh yeah, it was definitely fireball for sure. So right there, sort of misplay by me letting the giant lock on, but thankfully it may have cost me. I don't know how much damage all the spells do exactly. That's one tough thing when you play both tournaments and ladder, or I'm not sure at level 13 what the exact damage is of lightning and log and zap that he has, but thankfully we were able to pull it off there.
Yeah, nice win, man, and very nice. You had the wherewithal to make that very last hog push. You know, obviously you knew it was going to be very difficult defending. You knew he had lightning, but you had the fireball in rotation, you had the hog in rotation, so you just kind of went for it there, and that's what ended up picking up the victory for you.
Yeah, I think if he didn't get my tower that low, I might have been a bit more patient. But seeing, all right, you know what, all he has to do is cycle spells. You just got to go for it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay,
and the other game.
You want to do another ladder, or would you rather go ahead? Let's see, you're pretty high in cups. You're at 4604 day 1 of the season. That's pretty crazy. Do you want to do another ladder, or do you want to go ahead and switch to a challenge run?
It might be fun to do another ladder. I mean, I don't mind showing a loss if it ends up being a good game.
Yeah, let's do it.
A good player. We'll see how long the wait times. Oh, the wait time says 4 minutes and 50 seconds. I don't know if we want to wait.
Holy moly. All right, well, go ahead and wait, and I'm just going to play one of your random replays and just talk to you a little bit, and then if you find a match, just let us know.
Sounds good.
All right. I'm going to turn on the replay against Tag, because Tag, I think, is absolutely fantastic. And he's another one of my favorite. Him and you are definitely some of my favorite guys as far as like really breaking down a match. You guys are both really good at it. So he's actually playing a similar deck to the one you just faced in ladder on this replay here with the Elite Barbs and the Giant. I'm sure there's not a lightning in there, but the pump. So he has that standard pump deck you were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have the replay up in front of me here, but I remember was sort of the deck I talked about. That exact same. All right, looks like I got into a game actually here.
Here we go. We're leaving.
All right. I don't know if you're able to hop in now.
I'm in.
You're in. All right. I'm playing against Nova King.
Okay.
Nova player. I've definitely seen him on leaderboards. All right. So I start with play. He does the same thing. Musketeer. My hand right now is Ice Golem, Tombstone, and a couple of spells. So I'm just sort of trying to protect the Musketeer here.
So far, mirror plays with both player.
I'm at full elixir, so there's not much of a play there. Ooh, unfortunately, the log actually hurt me there.
Yeah.
Where it made the Musketeer... Ooh, that's a stop. He'll get a couple shots off. So I think I've seen this deck. I think it's a... Ooh, I haven't seen this deck. I haven't seen it with Tombstone, actually.
Yeah.
Interesting. So I'm going to Fireball here. I don't have much else to play. Because I wouldn't want to hog into his Tombstone. I probably should have played an Ice Golem there. Now I'm a little worried because he's going to be able to have a good advantage on me with troops coming down.
What do you think he's playing at this point? Okay, graveyard deck.
Okay, he's playing a graveyard deck. So he zaps my skeleton.
Ooh,
not going to be good. So I think...
Nice cycle there, though.
I'm trying to think what I did wrong there. So far, I think I was just taken aback by what his deck was. He has Tombstone here. Hoping I can log it if he plays the Tombstone. Ooh, he has a
bowler.
We'll see what we can pull off here, but this matchup is not going to be pretty.
Yeah, it's tough. You have a tough deck going against Graveyard as is, and then having Bowler and Tombstone as counters to your Hog Rider is going to be difficult.
Right. I think I actually missed the Bowler with that Fireball there, so I have to give up the Ice Golem as well. So I'm definitely behind on Elixir. Not that I'm actually counting exactly, but from what I can tell, I'm behind. Tombstone's going to help me a good amount here. If he freezes, the Tombstone's going to get a good amount of value. So I'm going to try and play something at least on the right side.
Okay.
I'm just going to find Hog just for no good reason other than I can't afford to let him just play whatever he wants.
And there's the freeze.
On the side push. So I think we're able to defend that quite well.
Yeah,
he's
probably good defense.
All right, now he doesn't have anything for the Hog. He's probably going to minions. I'll go throw a predictive Fireball.
Ooh.
No. Oh, no. I completely miscounted that. That's me. I miscounted the cards there. So I thought he wasn't back to Tombstone. And so that's an example of trying to outcycle your opponent and just miscounting the cards and messing up. Now, if a player has played 4 cards since they've played the last Tombstone, then they're back to the Tombstone, right? Because it's a fixed cycle in Clash Royale. So I had seen him play the Bowler into my Musketeer, and so I thought, all right, he's not going to have anything for the Hog, and that's why I went for a Hog Fireball prediction spell. Completely botched that out. But yeah, we can go ahead and hop on replay here. I'm at 2 minutes 55 seconds.
Okay, let me. Oh, you got to share it.
Oh, yeah, that is an important part. Sharing replay.
All right, cool. So I'm gonna get to. Well, I'll pause it right away. So, ready?
I had seen this deck, I think, with Mega Minion instead of the minions. So when I saw his deck to start out, I saw Musketeer, Minions, and Tombstone, which is why I was a little taken aback, not sure what it was. All right.
I'm gonna press play. Ready?
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
I'm at minutes and 58 seconds.
Okay. I'm around the same thing. Okay, so yeah, it starts out pretty. He has Graveyard and Freeze both in his hand. Graveyard Freeze so tricky, especially, you know, without archers or minions in your own deck. You know, it's challenging. What is your normal go-to? I mean, obviously Ice Golem and I guess Tombstone. Other than that, like, how do you handle it?
Yeah, Tombstone's great, again, especially on ladder, because I have a max, like most 13s, they have max level rares, but the Graveyard is rarely at this point going to be a max level card.
Mm-hmm.
But Skeletons like to take 2 shots, so Tombstone's actually quite good against Graveyard Freeze. The other thing is I need to be really selective with my logs. Log is really going to help reduce a really good amount of damage against his Graveyard Freezes. So balancing when I log his Tombstone versus when I log his Graveyard is really important.
So at this point, you know... Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
If I wish that I had thrown an Ice Golem in front of that Musketeer, because then what happens here is he has a free Musketeer, basically. And this is what allows him to go aggressive on his Graveyard, right? He's ahead in Elixir. So the mistake there was letting my Musketeer just get shredded up by his for sort of with no repercussion. Right?
Yeah. So in retrospect, it was just playing, not supporting that that Musketeer, that first Musketeer with the Ice Golem was basically a big mistake there.
It is quite obvious that he was going to do what he did. I mean, he already did that to open the game. He did an Ice Golem in front of the Musketeer, right? Mm-hmm. And so, all right here, I think I missed this Fireball. On the bowler. Yeah, that is another mistake. You just can't afford these mistakes, especially against the sort of counter deck, right?
Yeah, and when you know your opponent has 2 really difficult counters to your Hog in playing this deck, how do you usually go about that? It's tough to kind of dodge both of the counters, Tombstone and Bowler.
Yeah, so I've shared a replay of a game where I was able to beat, not this exact deck, but it had Bowler, Tombstone, Graveyard, and Freeze. All
right, you want to watch that maybe after this?
Oh yeah, sure. So right here, I get his Tombstone out of rotation, but see, maybe I didn't see that zap, but for whatever reason, I thought as soon as he plays the Bowler here, I thought he was one more card away from Tombstone. Right there, I play the Hog, and it turns out he has Tombstone right back in his hand. Right? I thought he only had minions left, is what I was expecting.
Yeah. So what do you just make mental notes?
Yeah. So if we could go back to see what the exact mistakes were. And sort of try and learn from that, right? The first one is not supporting the Musketeer, and I'd say that's more of a mistake of not recognizing patterns. Mm-hmm. He had already done Ice Golem in front of Musketeer, so you should have expected that. The other mistake was obviously missing a Bowler. That's sort of an unforced error, but I mean, just don't miss your spells.
Yep.
And lastly, count your cards. Right? Count his cards. Right? I thought he had Tombstone. Out of cycle, it was definitely back in.
Do you have any tips for people to count cards? I find it, like, one thing that helps me is that, you know, in some people, this might be obvious to a lot of people, but, you know, you don't have to count every card. You just have to really pay attention to their hard counters for your win condition and their win condition. At least that's what I do. Is that kind of what you do as well? Or?
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely a good point. It's really tough unless you're really focusing to count all of them, right? And it's easiest in single Elixir, and I think that's fine with the Hog deck because most of your damage is going to come in single Elixir when you catch him off cycle. In double Elixir, they're almost always able to cycle, like you saw right there. By intuition, I had thought he did not get back to Tombstone, but just being in double Elixir, they have so much better of a chance to cycle back to their card. So if in single Elixir, you're really keeping track of their counters, more often than not, you'll be able to catch where the rotation is in your favor.
Okay, that's great advice. Do you want to go ahead and do one more match, or do you want to go ahead and review the replay against Bill from Adult? He's the one who had the Bowler and Freeze or whatnot. Yeah, similar deck.
He's actually level 12, so it definitely wasn't quite an even game in terms of levels, but I think in terms of it's still a very sort of hard counter deck, right? Playing against Boulder and Tombstone with a Hog deck, you definitely have to know what you're doing to be able to get around both of those. So yeah, we can go ahead and jump into that replay here.
Okay, cool. Bill actually, coincidentally, just beat me on ladder, so shout out to him.
All right, Bill. So I have it paused right at the start of the game.
Me too. Let's go.
All right.
So how do you feel about your starting? What's your perfect starting hand with this deck?
I want to say having Musketeer is nice. It really depends what you're playing. Against the Lava Hound, I really want Hog in my opening hand. Against the Hog Rider, I really want the Tombstone. Against it really depends, if that makes sense. That's sort of a cheating answer, but
no, it does make sense. How do you go against with a deck like this, like a speed Hog Cycle deck? How do you deal with like the very popular Golem Elixir Pump Elite Barb deck?
Ooh, I actually have a lot of replays of that. And with this deck, actually, I'm able to do quite well against those. So I'd love to talk about that and share some of those. It really comes down to early in the game, you punish the slow plays that they make, Elixir Collector and Golem. But you have to realize that inevitably... Oh, so right here, I don't know if you're able to see this, but he just played the Boulder into my Musketeer. Right?
Yeah, I paused for a sec.
Okay, so if you had watched closely on the cycle where I did Hog before this, he uses Tombstone, right? And then, I'm all right. So that's one of his Hog counters, and he definitely hasn't played 4 cards since then. It's single Elixir. His chances of cycling are not that great. And then, so trying to guess what his cards might be. I mean, if you just drop your Musketeer in the back, it's sort of a neutral play. It's sort of a good way to then see, all right, now what's your move? Well, you get to figure out what their cards are. And on his end, a Bowler into a Musketeer is in its own is a good play. The Bowler will win that interaction. But as soon as I see that, I don't think I even hit full Elixir yet. I just go because I know if I wait for full Elixir, for example, he might have been able to go Ice Golem and then Tombstone, right? But by immediately playing my Ice Golem and Hog, I don't give him a chance to build up Elixir to cycle back to his other Hog counter. And so he's forced to freeze, which is definitely not the play you want to make.
I like that. I like the breakdown there. It's kind of like a chess match, because you drop the Musketeer, it's his play, he drops Bowler, and then immediately you punish.
Right, because it's like, all right, you don't have Tombstone, you don't have Bowler, time
exactly.
to go. You got to know when you need to go, but you also have to know when to sort of play.
And you take away his freeze, and he's left with no Elixir to parlay with that Bowler. So that was a really good exchange there.
So we can go ahead. I'm at the 1 minute and 59 seconds if you want to go ahead and play.
Yeah, catch up to me a little bit. I'm at like 135.
All right, I'll go ahead and play here.
Nothing really is happening right now.
Yeah, I think he froze my Hog, and I just got a good amount of damage there.
Yep, I'm around 123 or so right now. Right now it's Musketeer versus Ice Golem, and you can tell he's kind of gearing up for another graveyard push with the Bowler. But then you're going to punish in the other lane again. It looks like. Yes, you are.
Yeah, so I think he had just played his Tombstone. So I'm not afraid to switch lanes, right? I know he has to play a lot of stuff on that end because he doesn't have the optimal counters in his hand, right? And so the Hog gets a really good amount of damage off. I'm at 1 minute right now, just to sync up.
Yep, me too. I'll pause it right now. He just dropped the freeze. I'm going to pause it around 48, so we're on the same page here. But basically, you just defended really well. I'm paused at 48. You just defended really well against that graveyard push. Even though he had Bowler graveyard freeze, you did a very good job of using those skeletons to take out the Bowler on their own. And then, just a good defense there. I'm going to press play when you're ready.
Yeah, the log and the Ice Spirit right now on the graveyard really makes a big difference. So you gotta use everything. A lot of people just sort of try to save their Elixir.
Yeah.
Everything in the graveyard really counts. So right here, I know that sort of Bowler is his best play into the low tower, and so that's why I go Hog on the other lane. Is all right. Now you can't play Bowler on the lane you want.
Wow, that worked out really well for you. The Musketeer gets a few hits in. The Hog gets a few hits in.
He played his defense on my Musketeer really late, so that was definitely more of a fault on his end, but it definitely worked out for me. I have both towers pretty low. Now the time's winding down. I just need to finish one of them off. I mean, I do have Fireball in hand, so
Yeah, that's it. So 5 seconds left. All you have to do is fireball, and you're still going aggressive on the left tower just in case. So nice victory there.
Thanks. Yeah, so I think the important takeaway is if you're playing a counter deck like this, and usually a counter deck will mean they have 2 counters to one of your cards. With a Hog Cycle deck especially, your only chance to really get a big advantage on your opponent is in single elixir when you can catch them without both of the counters, and you gotta go. Once you see you have a chance, once you recognize it, you gotta take it, because chances are you don't, and double elixir comes around and you're not gonna be able to outcycle both of them.
Yeah, it seems like, if I have this right, Marcel, it seems like you're playing pretty conservatively until you know what the counter for the Hog is. Like, sometimes you won't even play the Hog at all until you know what they have to actually counter it. And then, your match is all about using the Musketeer to defend, being smart, and then basically just punishing whenever you sense they have the counter out of hand. Is that pretty much a synopsis?
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think one key thing is, if you're able to sort of defend your Musketeer and make good mechanical plays, like say you squeeze some skeletons right in front of the Musketeer so that your Musketeer wins a duel, and then it's approaching their tower at full health. Your opponent is left in the scenario where, all right, I can use the Bowler to defend the Musketeer, or I can take 1,000 damage from the Musketeer. Either way, they're sort of screwed. So you drop the Bowler, then all right, time to go Hog on the other lane. So there's to sort of force out their rotation. You have to make, against good players at least, they're not just going to throw out their Boulder or Tombstone willy-nilly, right?
Yeah.
So if you sort of make these interesting mechanical plays, all right, put an Ice Golem in front of a Musketeer, Ice Spirit, or and then you win a little interaction, and then they're forced to either take a bunch of damage, which is an advantage in itself, or throw off their rotation, which is another huge advantage. That's sort of how that's sort of what I think about when I play this deck.
Awesome. Well, you know what? I lied to you, because I'd really love you to do one more live battle, because I think this is just so great. This is like one of my favorite pro episodes that I've done so far. It's really cool to do it live. Sounds good. Do we want to do same deck or ladder? I'm down to down for whatever. Yeah, do a ladder match. I mean, it's up to you, really. I mean, see how long it's gonna be. All right. So on ladder, the wait is 45 seconds. So okay, let's go ahead. So yeah, we'll just hang, and yeah, once you get that, in the meantime, I'm gonna open up my super magical chest for the viewers out there. Let's see. Go for it. I got a legendary chest, followed by a super magical, followed by a magical. I kid you not. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Someone's the inside scoop with these. Well, it had obviously been a long drought before that, but I got an Ice Wizard out of the super magical, and I got a Princess out of the legendary earlier, so that was pretty cool. Oh, nice. Yeah. All right, we'll get the gold chest going, and you know what? Let's do a grand challenge to end off the episode, if that sounds good with you. Yeah, sounds good. All right, sweet. So, luckily, no having to wait for a match here, so you should be into one pretty soon. Are you still doing like one grand challenge a day, Marcel, or? Since I've gotten max level cards, it's been a little difficult to motivate myself to I don't have max level epics, and getting legendaries from the shop through the gold that I would get from challenges is a big deal. So every now and then I'll still play to test out decks for sure. Nice. All right, I'm going to do a game right now. We're in. All right. All right, we got the countdown, joining in. Tell us about your starting hand. So I've just got Tombstone, Ice Golem, Log, Ice Spirit. So I'm going to wait. All right, so I'll play an Ice Golem here, which will hopefully leave his Mega Minion in range of my tower when it's hitting it. I hit full elixir, so I'm just gonna make a neutral play. I mean, right now it's just a bunch of average plays. The one thing I don't like is that I was sort of expecting that, where his the way I played the Musketeer there and the Tombstone is sort of by circumstance, but they were both in Fireball range, right? At this point, I'm sort of stuck with Ice Golem and Hog. I didn't really want to play this, but I didn't really have much else of a play. Ooh, and the Electro Wizard, interesting. Interesting, yeah, Electro Wizard. All right, so I'm not too worried. I'll log this guy and hopefully the Fire Spirits. Yep, nice catch there. All right, so he doesn't have a. So I'm trying to cycle right now. I think there's a good chance here. The one thing I worry about is he could go Mega Minion into Giants. I'm actually gonna go Hog other side and see what he does. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about why you did that exactly? So right there, I would have given him a huge value Mega Minion if I went Hog into the Mega Minion.
he would have killed my hog, right? And then he would have supported the Mega Minion like he did with a giant. And so basically he would have gotten a Mega Minion that goes, that does a good amount of damage on defense and then goes on offense, right?
Yeah, really smart move. Now instead you have a really nice lead.
Yeah, he sort of didn't do anything against my hog. He might have not had anything to defend it with. I think because he didn't have Furnace, he didn't have Electro Wizard, he didn't have Mega Minion, he didn't have Fire Spirits.
Yeah.
So he was, right now he's probably going to Furnace, but that's fine. I'm just trying to push him out of cycle again. So he Furnaces. I'm fine with that.
Okay, so can you talk a little bit about pushing opponents out of cycle? Like, is that something that you're doing kind of in between your big pushes? Like, you'll do a hog push knowing that he's going to be able to defend it just to set you up down the road?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only way you get them out of cycle is you first need the counter to get out of hand, right?
Yeah, and that's the whole point of a cycle deck, right? Because you can cycle faster than he can.
I'm playing for 2 rotations, basically. For the first one, which I know I'll get 0 damage off, and then he's out of cycle, and then I go.
Awesome. I think that's a very, it's an obvious point maybe, but it's also like a super important one, I think. I noticed you're playing, sorry.
Why are you hog when you know you're not going to get any damage? I mean, the point is I will on the second cycle, right?
Yes.
So right now I'm just playing at this point, since I know I have him in fireball range. Hopefully I was able to demonstrate a bit about sort of out-cycling your opponent with these hog decks.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that, especially that replay. It was a good example of setting up the second cycle. But man, I've had you on forever here. I don't want to take up too much more of your time, man. I really appreciate you being so generous with it, and your tips and strategy as always, man. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Hey, that was a blast. One thing I wanted to say, or maybe plug, or maybe ask the viewers, I am seriously considering maybe starting up, or at least trying to experiment with creating maybe a video myself on strategy. And I don't know if any interest in that at all, the viewers. It sounds like a fun idea to me.
On YouTube, you mean?
Yeah, on YouTube. I might end up pinging you for a couple of technical tips or what apps I might want to use for editing.
Of course, man. This is exciting news.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like a really cool sort of space to be in. It's really fun. It looks like it's really fun contributing back. The few videos I've been on, I've had a blast. So maybe I'll get my.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Do you have a channel set up already or no?
Not yet. I'm gonna go through the whole thing. So
what you're gonna do is you're gonna set up a channel right as soon as we stop recording. Set up a channel, and then you don't have to have any videos up because I did this with Electrify last time he was on, and he got like 1,000 subscribers overnight. So let's do that. So if you can set up a channel before this video goes live, I'll link it in the description, and you can get a little head start.
Oh, sounds good. Thanks a lot, man. Really appreciate that.
No problem. So guys, be sure, if you stay till the end, show Marcel some love. I'm sure it's going to be an amazing channel. I hope you stick with it, man.
Thanks a bunch. And hope you enjoyed the video. It was a lot of fun for me.
All right, man. We'll have to do it again soon, and thanks again.
Catch you later.
Bye. Alright guys, so there it was, Marcel. I hope you enjoyed that conversation and really the gameplay session as much as I did. I thought it was very fun. If you guys want to see other pros on the channel in the same format of like playing live matches like this, hopefully you guys, again, really enjoyed that. I thought it was so valuable, even more so than just sharing general tips. So guys, let me know what you think of this idea. If you like it, as always, I'll continue to bring it. If you don't like it, hey, it will be one and done. Make sure, by the way, you go ahead and subscribe and show Marcel some love. Let's get him a nice base of subscribers before he starts his YouTube venture. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care, guys.